Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3 premiere family. Ash vs. Evil Dead is officially back, and it was a pretty good first episode. Definitely not what I was expecting. Elk Grove is, supposedly safe. Ash is going into a hardware store, like owning a hardware store where he sells not only hardware but like dildos and weird, just a weird little shop. It totally fits his character. Super silly fake commercial, like what's better than a handful of nuts and stuff like that. So it starts off simple. It's like, all right, everything's been saved. Of course, we knew that this past slash new version of Ruby has kind of gone off to, she's basically just vanished. She's in the present. She's disappeared. We don't really know what's happening. It's clearly been a bit of time. He's bought this store. He's got commercials and stuff. Grand opening. Everybody's cheering because it's really just like this little podunk town. Like they even kind of make fun of it a little with the character Brandy, where it's like everyone's losing their mind over like this hardware store opening up. Which, granted, the dude did save people from demons, so it was like, even if he had like a little stand, which they had like food in the front, I guess you would be excited. It's like, this dude did technically save the entire city from demons and everything. So it's like, yeah, it kind of makes sense to be excited. But at the same time, it's still a hardware store and it's also kind of dumb. So they're going through and it's like, all right, well, he's got his store going. We see it's, Ash and Pablo are together. Kelly is off. She's not the bouncer. I don't think she owns the bar. She just beat up some dude because he touched some peanuts and he wasn't a paying customer. But she's at a bar. And so it's like, all right, things are kind of just going along. And then we see this woman, and she found the Necronomicon. So she basically takes it to like this super weird version of like, it was almost like the Antiques Roadshow, but for some reason it was like in a barn. I thought that was the weirdest thing. And also it was live. It was like it's just stuff that didn't even make any sense whatsoever. It's like, so it's in a barn. It's like random relics from the past that may or may not be valuable. And it's like a live TV show. And it was like, that's just weird. But once again, fits for the show, just random weird stuff that makes no sense whatsoever. So she takes the Necronomicon to this guy, and of course, he starts reading it first, and then he's like, oh, this is the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. And he realizes that it was bad, and it's like, oh, this happens. And he reads like halfway through, but that's more than enough. And so, the force, the demons basically come in, and people are just thrown left and right. They're all basically killed off. And then Ruby comes in, rattles off some old names that she used to have, and she takes the Necronomicon from the guy and just punches him so hard his face like explodes. And I was like, oh, well, that's a pretty cool way to kind of get to the title card where it's like she punches his face off. So things, of course, start to go crazy. But before they officially get to the rest of the characters, or at least the main characters, we have two new characters come in, and they are, I forgot the name that they use, but basically they're like, it was like the Knights of something, and they're meant to fight against the Necronomicon and the demons and stuff. And I was like, all right, well, this I wasn't expecting. That's very interesting. So we're introduced to Candace Barr, who's affectionately known as Candy Bar in the past. And so we get this flashback of Ash and her when they get married, and turns out they had sex, naturally. And then they ended up having a kid that Ash did not know about. So he has a daughter who ends up being the character Brandy, who's with the other high school girl. And she ends up being attacked, and naturally, things just become disastrous. And the way it played out, I thought was really cool. Definitely creepy, over the top, where they're kind of being stalked by the guy who gets taken over inside of the mascot costume, and he's bleeding from the eyes, and there's just blood all over the place. And so they're freaking out and trying to run through like this giant puddle of blood. And then Ash has to go save his brand new daughter. And so Pablo, and Candace go, and then there's like the dude in the random leather jacket. He ends up going to Kelly, who we find at the end of the episode. And so, unfortunately, Candace gets killed, which really shocked me, especially the way they did. I was like, the way they kind of, introduced Brandy as a character was about as sad as it got. It was like they go into the episode, and by the time it ends, it's like her best friend has been taken over by, this ancient evil force, and then she throws, basically it was like some Mortal Kombat type stuff. She just throws this blade. It was basically a blade, and it's just, they're fighting instruments, and she just tosses it, and Pablo gets saved, and Candace puts her hands up, and her fingers get chopped off, and it goes through her head. And I was just like, wow. And I know they're not about to save her friend, so I just knew it was like, well, she just watched her mom's head like fall off. I'm like, I know they're not about to save her friend, because that very rarely works, and you typically have to be a main character. So I'm like, well, she just lost her mom. I know she's about to lose her friend. And they also did that in a pretty gruesome way as well, where Ash kicks the harp over, and then he just jumps on it and splits her face down. And I was like, all right, I was like, oh, that's a pretty inventive kill. And they kind of held it there, and I thought it was being held there because she was gonna like still move around and blink and stuff like that. And it was like, nope, and their face just split open. I was like, oh, super gross. I was like, that was it's definitely up there as far as like one of the crazy moments that they've had. Of course, I would have to say number one still goes to the last season where Ash got sucked into the butt. So obviously that's like just the craziest one that there was, but that was definitely a good one because I was like, oh, they're gonna do it where she still speaks and then she kind of fades away. I was like, nope, they just held it and then her face just like split open. I was like, that's gross, but inventive. I liked it. So Brandy has to deal with losing her best friend, losing her mom, and then it's just like monsters are real. They basically just took two of your favorite people. I'm your dad, also. All right, let's go. Be knights and let's fight. Fight off ancient evil again. So definitely a crazy way to end things out. I'm definitely curious how they're gonna kind of move forward with Brandy as a character because I know it was during the season finale last year. Someone mentioned to me that what they were trying to do, like, because they had I think it was like the showrunner left, or somebody left the series, and it was because they were having arguments about where to take the story because they wanted to basically, when they were doing like the timeline thing where it's like, oh, we're changing history and stuff like that, they basically wanted to make it where Kelly became Ash's daughter. So they kind of stuck with that a little where it's like, okay, well, we'll introduce a new character as his daughter. And so we have a new character that's Ash's daughter as well as these knights, and however many characters may or may not get introduced through that. We technically met two because it seemed like Candace knew the guy because they showed them both together and then they kind of split off. So it was like, all right, she definitely knew what was going on, and obviously she knew what was happening because it's like the monsters are back and stuff like that. So I thought that was interesting. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that's gonna really kind of change not only the season but really the series. Like how many people are actually involved in this? How strong is this organization? Like what? Where have they been? Because they certainly haven't been doing much to help Ash out, especially considering Brandy's mom was a part of it, and that most of the last season was pretty much in Elk Grove. So they might even make fun of that, honestly, because I think this is the type of show that would do that. But I thought this was a pretty good premiere. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how they kind of play on the aspect of Ash having a daughter now and what that's going to mean as far as kind of just how he handles things. And also, like I said, I really want to know what they're going to do with this organization. Are we going to see other people? How many people are going to be like, well, let's just kill Ash? I feel like that's going to come up. Like, there's always like that one person where it's like, well, if we just kill this one good guy, then that'll stop all the demons, because like it's a weird sort of back and forth destiny type of thing. And it'll be like, they'll have to fight some people within the organization and other people might help them. Could totally be wrong, but I feel like that always ends up happening. There's always someone in the organization that takes like the weird pseudo villain route. So we'll see how it all plays out, but looking forward to that. Not a clue what's going on. I don't know if they're doing like another Ash clone or what, but with Ruby, when she is putting in the blood in the Necronomicon, I had a lot of theories on it because the page of the book was when Ash goes back in time and he's in Army of Darkness. And it was like, okay, so she's putting like blood on that and covering it up, and then this weird thing starts to move in her stomach. So I'm like, all right, I don't know if this is supposed to be, if they're going to be doing like a young Ash clone or something like that, which I think would be very interesting. But it just makes me wonder, it's like, well, what can they even do with that? Because he was a good guy, unless him being birthed from Ruby instantaneously makes him evil. So it's just like, I don't know what that means. They might go back to actually go back to the movies, and maybe it'll be the Army of Darkness version of Ash. We'll get to see that come back just as an older form, because obviously it'll still be Bruce Campbell. That would be interesting. I think that would be a pretty cool way to do that if they wanted to make like an insanely huge reference, where it's like, oh, this is that evil version of Ash from Army of Darkness. So I think that would be cool if that's where they went with it. But it's like this weird thing. It's like he has Brandy as his daughter, and then that's kind of what they're teasing almost, where it's like he's going to have a good child and a bad child. And I feel like that's what they're headed towards. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's going to, like I said, if it's going to be a totally different actor, or if they're going to go with kind of the prosthetics / CG route, where it's like evil Ash from Army of Darkness. But either way, I'm excited to see how that's supposed to play out, because that basically just means Ruby is not going to be on her own. So that means she's going to have an ally, as far as villains and stuff. So I'm looking forward to how However, all this stuff is supposed to like come together and bounce off of each other. The promo for the whole season seemed pretty interesting with his dad being there and him being a ghost during a scene. So I'm assuming he dies because I really can't remember if he died. I'm pretty sure he lived in the last season, but I really can't remember. I'm pretty sure he lived. I just don't really remember. But apparently he dies at some point. Maybe it's not an official death. Army of Darkness and how that whole movie played out, how all the movies and this series itself is played out. You never really know what's going to happen. Somebody could be dead. You might go back in time. You might just be a ghost for a minute or two, a couple episodes, no big deal. I mean, Pablo's been chopped in half, so who knows? Like, his dad might not even be permanently dead. That's probably why that was in the promo. It's just like, oh, his dad died. And then it's like, not even permanent. If he's not dead already. Because like I said, I legitimately can't remember. I feel like he died, but yeah, I feel like with this show, it takes longer than most shows to actually come out, so I never remember anything from the last season. Even with the recap, they didn't show that he died, so I don't think he's actually dead. He might, like I said, die in this season, but looking forward to it. Like I said, it was, of course, crazy silly and then crazy gruesome. By the time we hit the end, it was both silly and gruesome, them fighting against the instruments, and then decapitations and fingers falling on the ground, and then splitting the face down. Definitely well done. I thought it was pretty cool. So looking forward to this season. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. This will definitely be for people who may just be coming across my channel, or anyone who never saw like the old video I did last year. A lot of shows I'm not doing like my full reviews anymore. Army of Darkness, or I don't know, I keep saying Army of Darkness, but Ash vs. Evil Dead, this will have a full season review. Like, every episode might take a minute because not only is it on Sunday, which means I have to basically go to sleep as soon as the episode ends, but also Monday I never get to do anything, so all the reviews will probably be like 2 days late, like how I'm doing this one. So they'll probably all pretty much come out on Tuesdays, if not later. It just depends on the week. If things get like super crazy, it might not be until Thursday, and if it's like crazy, it probably won't be for like almost a full week. So just to let you guys know, there will be reviews for every single episode, but considering it, premieres on Sunday, might take a little bit of time. This will take priority over The Walking Dead. For me personally, I just like Ash vs. Evil Dead more. So this will always come out first before The Walking Dead reviews come out, because that's going to be a weekly thing as well. So for anyone who's interested, I will definitely be reviewing this entire season. I'm definitely looking forward to it, like I said, but definitely want to know what you guys thought about it. And of course, I want to know your predictions. How you guys are feeling about Brandy as Ash's daughter, what you guys think about that and how it might play out. What's going on with these knights, what's going on with Ruby and this like evil baby, whatever's going to happen there. We'd love to know your predictions and just how you guys are feeling about this premiere in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.